Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. Today I want to tell you a little bit more about the New Year's celebration that we had a couple of days ago from the year 2020 to 2021. As you know, maybe from my previous videos, this year fireworks, parties, alcohol, gatherings on public squares, for example, were of course not allowed because we all know this is dangerous. We can't do this because we might end grandma's life in that process. We all know that. And this is why Germans, in solidarity, they stood together, far apart, of course, and they didn't celebrate. And for the most part in Germany, that was true because there are strict rules and fines and 25,000 euros and so on and so on. And for the most part, it was quiet. And these laws are, of course, as we live in a modern Western democracy, these laws are valid for everybody. Nobody is above the law. Well, except, of course, for Angela Merkel's very own ZDF, the second TV channel of our public broadcasting service, zweites deutsches Fernsehen. They had an extravagant, very expensive, large New Year's celebration for their own staff, of course, at the Brandenburg Gate of all places, where it was strictly forbidden that anybody would celebrate. And while a couple of weeks ago, the police in Berlin was dispersing a crowd that was just peacefully congregating there, um, it, it was very clear that the state of Berlin and the city of Berlin, they had a big problem with that, and they were using all the resources at their disposal to counteract this congregation of people. But now, when the ZDF, when the public broadcasting, when they're having a party, there was police there, oh yes, but they didn't disperse the crowd with water cannons. No, they were protecting them, and they were making sure that nobody would bother them, that nobody would dare to look at what they're actually doing there. And they had huge tents with expensive, exquisite catering service and so on. And they had a huge backstage area where you didn't need to wear masks, by the way. They didn't need to wear masks. Masks are only for the people who have to pay for that spectacle. See? The people who are getting paid, the people who are getting subsidized, like very, very luxurious welfare recipients, they don't need to wear a mask, no. And they had live music acts when live music is banned for a very long time already in Germany. You were not even allowed to sing at Christmas Mass this year. But they had live music performances there, all for their benefit and all paid for by people who just have an address in Germany, yeah? Who don't even benefit from all that in the slightest. And they're forced, and the full power of the law, the full power of the state will come down on you heavy if you dare to refuse to pay this radio fee, which is actually just a tax in disguise, as I've said many times. So, what did they have? They had fireworks, of course. They had a light show. They had live music acts. They had celebrities. They had catering. They had all the stuff, right? And hundreds and hundreds of people were there. Of course, not an actual audience, but their buddies and, people like stars and celebrities and people who work behind the camera, like technicians and all that. And they enjoyed this New Year's party, while the rest of the country, well, they were not allowed to do anything like that, and they were even hunted down by the cops if they dared to do that. And there were many occasions like that. There were many examples, like helicopters. I kid you not. Helicopters in Germany were looking for crowds of people in order to, so that the forces on the ground could disperse them or arrest them then. Yeah. So they're using now um, resources, I would say, that are normally used in order to go after organized crime or after, like serious people, serious threats. they're using these resources now to go after people who just have a beer at the corner or who are just having a chat or having a bratwurst or something like that, right? This is the new target. This is the new state enemy number one, right? It's the guy who just plays cards with his buddies, the person who dares to sing during mass or something. Yeah, this is the new enemy number one in Germany. And of course, the rest, the organized crime that we have, all the criminals, all that stuff, they're still here, of course. But the police ignores them now. The police has been given a new target, and that is the law-abiding, peaceful citizen, the taxpayer. But coming back to this New Year's extravaganza, yeah, with no masks, well, they were wearing masks in front of the camera, but there was a clear sign that was identified behind, behind the camera in the backstage area. You didn't need to wear a mask. They said there was a sign very clearly, and yeah, it must have cost millions and millions of euros. And this is at a time, I reported about that, when they actually are asking for more money. Yeah, they want to have that monthly subscription fee, which is not actually a subscription. It's as I said many times, it's a forced fee that every household needs to pay, and they want to have that increased now. There is only one state in the east of the republic, that is Sachsen-Anhalt, and um, they have not given their green light for that request. They have vetoed it, and so far there is a stalemate. And I should say that public opinion at the moment is pretty much opposed to these public broadcasting outlets. They're saying that during times like these, they should not spend more money on, superficial entertainment and non-necessary stuff like reporting the news. Okay, and I think it's not okay if a public broadcasting network is giving you the news. The news should come from independent sources, from as many as possible. There shouldn't be any official news in the first place. But most Germans, most normie Germans, they think that this is okay. But I would say that especially during 2020, the opinion of these normie Germans has changed a little bit when it comes to the um, very rich and very diverse entertainment segment of the public broadcasting, um, which is huge, by the way. It is most of the money that they spend is spent on entertainment, like sports and like soap opera. Literally, I kid you not, they are producing airhead soap operas, where you have these little nonsense stories. It is basically a exact copy of the same soap operas and telenovelas and all that stuff that you find also on private TV networks. But why does the public broadcasting have to copy that, basically? Yeah, and that with forced household fee money. Yeah, so these people, they are millionaires. Yeah, they are making big money. You have lifelong employment there. You have automatic, how do you call that? Promotions. Yeah, well, in the private sector, you would call it a promotion. It's kind of like a promotion. You get more money, you get a higher pay grade automatically as the years go on. It's done by seniority, not that you get additional responsibilities or that you've proven yourself to be an efficient, goal-oriented worker who gets the job done. No, 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 no. You just need to be there. You need to show up to work, and you get automatically promoted. And the salary there, I kid you not, it is higher than comparable positions in the German public sector even. So these people who work there, they are truly privileged, and yeah, and they're using this freedom and this power that they have in order to lie to the people, to mock the people, and to insult the people that are forced, yeah, to pay for them. And in Germany, there is no way out. You cannot opt out of it. Yeah? And this is just one more example that shows you that the people in the public broadcasting, the powerful people in the public broadcasting, A, they do not believe that this pandemic is actually dangerous. They do not believe that. Because if they believed that, they would have canceled this stupid party with all the catering tents and with all these huge crowds of people in these tents and on this public stage and all that stuff. Violating all the rules that we have. They had fireworks, they had music, they had a large gathering. I'm sure they had alcohol. I'm sure they had food together. They were eating together, laughing, chanting, and talking together, which is of course illegal in Germany. You cannot talk to other people, but they did all that. So that means they don't think this is dangerous, or maybe even worse, maybe they know more than we do. We, the normal people. I mean, I don't have access to special secret information sources. I just read the news like anybody else. And maybe they know more than we do. Maybe they're initiated or something. Huh? And that is the one thing it teaches us. And the second thing it teaches us clearly is that the rules clearly don't apply to everybody in Germany. Yeah? And we're not one nation that stands together and we're all in this together. No, 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 no. There are people who do not have to obey these rules. None of these rules. They were breaking all the rules with this one event. Yeah? Nobody was allowed to have a party, but they were allowed to have a party. And it is even worse. They didn't have to pay for it. The citizens of Germany, who wanted to celebrate the new year, they would have paid for their own booze and food and their own fireworks. These people, well, I should say it, they're parasites. It is parasitism of the purest form. They didn't have to pay a single cent. Nay, they were even paid to be there because of course it's a business event, it's a work event. Yeah, sure. They were paid, probably, I think it's work time. It should be work time, yeah. Because they were filming it, so they can say, oh, it was work. Oh, it was just a party. It wasn't work. But they're paid for it. This counts as work time for these parasites, yeah? And then they get all the food and all the booze and all the live music, and the German taxpayer, because it is a tax, the German taxpayer has to foot the bill. So this is what's going on, and that demonstrates clearly, I repeat it once again, that they either know more than we do or they think it's not a big deal, and they're clearly above the law. Okay, so I will keep you posted on the affair or on the public broadcasting, and especially this this household fee increase and all that stuff, and what happens in Sachsen-Anhalt. This is all connected to this story arc, I would say. And stay tuned for more news on that front. Catch you guys again later. Servus, Kameraden.